Welcome back, guys, to another episode. Today we're still in Maryland. We're in the basement of Graham. As you guys can see, we're still here. Tons of tanks to cover. He's got 3 systems. You guys watched the first one. Here we go for the second one. Stay tuned. Let's go grab him. I'm asking a bunch of questions. Let's go get him. Come on. Graham, thanks again,
back.
bro. I know, it's still the same days, but if you guys haven't seen the episode, we just did another one with him. We did the 300 gallons with the 2 frag tanks. It's incredible everything he's got going on. If you didn't watch it, we're going to post the link right here. So go watch it before you watch this video. Now, if you watch the video, jump into this one. Here we go. So this system, number 2,
Yep.
it consists of 3 raceways.
Yeah.
And can you tell me the size of the raceways?
They're 4 foot by 8 foot, 18 inches tall. A little
18
deeper.
inches.
Learn my lesson with the shallow tanks.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so they're about 200 gallons each, water volume.
For the people, if you didn't watch the episode before, Graham, you've been doing this for close to 20 years now.
Yep.
You've been having this pump running for how long now, would you say?
This is my newest system, and it's been running for about 7, maybe 8 years now.
And for lights, can you tell me a little bit about that before we jump into the corals?
But here we got 3 Kessel A360s, just 2 T5s, and then 2 Reef Bright XHO strips.
This is basically, out of the whole system, the other ones hold all your SPS.
Correct.
And this is holding all your softies / LPS,
Yep.
which is not many softies. For softies, what do we got? Mushrooms only, I would say.
Yeah, pretty much.
And boy, do you have some mushrooms. So do you know the story how those things were found or no?
Yeah, so back before you ever heard a name like Purple Monster or Bounce Mushrooms, they existed, right? They were in the hobby, you just didn't see them often. So I bought a very small frag from a local hobbyist close to 15 years now. And I got a baby from him that looks like just a tiny little jawbreaker.
Yeah.
Just a single mushroom, and I've been propagating and growing that for that entire period.
Interesting. And one beautiful thing about this specific raceway we're looking at here, this specific rainbow chalice you got here is phenomenal, man. It looks
Thank
so freaking good. Here, I see this basket. You got some anemones right here, bubble tips, and you see,
Yep.
I see some jawbreaker mushrooms in there, whatever you call them.
Yep.
Do they sting each other?
No, not really. I mean, the
No.
only reason I got them in there is because those ones escaped. They broke off the plug they were on for the jawbreakers.
Let me not have them just swimming all over the place.
Yeah, because they'll run up on the rubble or they'll end up in the filler socks. I'll just stuff them in there until I get a chance to maybe put something in there that they can attach to and get them back out. But these are really for anemones.
So then we got a bunch of cool favias here. I love favias, man. People, they're underrated.
They don't get love in the hobby.
And I would say favias are fairly easy to keep.
Yeah.
For the most part, I would say it is.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Monties of the LPS world.
Yeah, and then you got the burning banana here, Stelocenalia.
Yep.
And something worth mentioning here, you have the biggest Raja rampage I have ever seen. I mean, this is colonies that rejoin each other, I can tell.
Yep.
There's used to be multiple chunks laying around.
Yep. I propagated them to like little mini colonies. I let them go too long. They grew into one.
Wow, so then you got the most gigantic, I mean, you got the 2 biggest corals I've ever seen. This just golden eye chalice right here is incredible. You know what? First thing comes to mind is you need to send these things to Andrew, Polar Reef. Andrew, I'm gonna give you a call. If you're watching, you gotta take these 2 things to your tank because they don't fit nowhere else, man. And they're gonna have to be driven in a cooler over there because you can't ship these things.
No.
No. And the other side, I see you got the giant Monty over there.
Right.
You got some more cool favias. You got some good old school bubblegum monster. You got encrusting gunnies, which I call them encrusting gunnies because they encrust a lot. But when they get happy, you see the long tentacles they get?
Yep.
They're pretty aggressive too. You notice that?
Yeah, like you can see that one. It's got some sweepers out. But the torches win. That's the problem with the ganies is that when those torch tentacle breaks off, lands on the gani, you get a big bald spot.
Isn't that stressful, man?
Well, it's part of the
Part of the game, I guess.
Part of how
right?
it goes. You want to grow torches next to all these other corals. Once in a while, something gets stung.
You're talking about stinging. You got the good old Space Invader Pectinia over there?
Yeah, in a corner for a reason.
That thing is nuts, bro. You know that thing loses its mind, man. I mean, that thing, I used to cut the tentacles out of it. You know that, right? You used to cut the tentacles.
No. The sweepers,
Yeah.
keep them from stinging.
It takes a while for him to grow them back, and the coral doesn't even hurt.
See, I got them right under that power head, under that MP40. So when it's on, it's always pulling straight up. Little tricks you learn, you know?
That's the
Yeah,
thinker
yeah.
right there.
When everything gets stung next to it, you start thinking about what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah, those lobophilias are
Yeah.
phenomenal, man. I love them.
Yeah, Lobos are, I got a really old Lobo I've been growing for 15 years. It's one of my prized pieces for sure.
Gotcha. All right, so let's look at this raceway here real quick. So you and me were having a little discussion just a few minutes earlier. I believe this is a returnoides because I believe it's not reaching towards the water and the branches are just too freaking thick, but I could be wrong. and it looks very similar to one that I have.
Right.
So it's incredible how good you're doing at growing these corals, Graham. You're doing a really, really good job.
Thank
It
you.
shows on these mushrooms right here. I mean, are these things growing fast for you?
Yeah, they grow like a weed. They're called dragon lady bounce mushrooms. Kind of just let them in this corner, let them there a little too long, and they basically just took over that
It's
rack.
scary, right? They could
Yeah.
take over the world. But as long as you keep them at bay, with a
Yeah.
bare bottom tank and you don't have a lot of rock and egg crates, a lot easier, right?
Yep, all these racks lift out, and they're not going to attach to the tank itself, or if they do, they're really easy to scrape off. So they're going to stay where they need to be.
And then what is this? A sunburst bubble tip right here?
Yeah, Colorado.
So a lot of people have this belief that if you keep more than one anemone in the tank, they sense something in the water and they kill the other ones. And I never buy into that. You got different types in here,
Yeah.
and they're not messing with each other. So,
I've never observed that.
and then for fish, what do you have in here? I see a purple tang, two
Yeah,
yellow
so most
tangs.
of the fish are tangs, workers. We got a powder blue. They got acanthurus. They just got that energy to graze all day long. I got yellows. I have yellows I've had for years. I keep a lot of them back when they were $50 a pop before
Yeah.
Hawaii closed and all that. Always active.
And for flow, I see you have 4 MP40s.
Yep. Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll have I'll kind of try to create gyres just like I do my other tanks, alternating and switching, back to the other way. And then they'll also get a point where they all overlap and run basically full blast. Just stir everything up, keep the detritus from settling.
And for lighting, what do you have in here on this tank?
All right, so this tank, different from the LPS tank, but the same as the other SPS one, but we got 8 T5s, it'd be 6 T5 Blue Plus, and then 2 Purple Plus, and then we got kind of a perimeter of Reef Bright. So I got 2 strips on each lengthy side, and then ones at the end, just because I got a little bit of shading at the end.
So no T5 main lighting on this one. Old school T5 basically.
Yep,
with the,
T5.
With the LED accent, old school.
Yeah, I mean, what I wanted here was just the spread. It's hard. You got to get a lot of radions or LEDs, what have you, to get the spread on an 8-foot by 4-foot tank, especially shallow. So I don't need super intense lighting because I'm not pushing a deep depth. So T5s are just super economical for getting that spread.
And you do trace elements, you say, as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
On this system, I've been trying the moonshiners for about a year. I kind of,
Okay.
whenever I make a change like that, I try to maybe just do it on one system, see how
Okay.
it reacts, right? Go full bore on all the systems, especially if you have a negative reaction, right? It's
Yeah.
risk mitigation. I haven't seen a huge difference. To be honest, going into that, my trace elements were in a pretty good spot according to the ICP-MS testing. So I haven't really got a return on that extra invested time. I think what moonshiners is really good for, if someone's newer and they haven't developed that husbandry or that kind of routine where they get into something and they're very consistent with it, moonshiners helps teach them, test, adjust, and
Yeah.
gets them good husbandry. It teaches them that. But do you need those 20 different trace elements? I'm not convinced yet.
All right, so let's go see the last one now. So I was looking at this grafted coral here earlier.
Right.
Josh, the general manager in our store, he has a paletta pink tip that is very grafted, and I thought this was the coral. But you're telling me the dark part is the actual coral, and the green part is the actual grafted piece.
Yeah, the interesting part about grafted coral is you'll see it. You would never, like you flipped over any other color that had like a green base pigmentation, you wouldn't see that on the underside. It would be all brown. You flip over a grafted coral where there's no light and it's bright green.
You see a different color. Yeah, oh, it's pretty obvious that it's 2 corals going into one. And on this specific tank, you have a favorite SPS in here?
Ooh, I mean that grafted piece just because the size of it and it's got grafting all
It's
throughout.
beautiful.
Sometimes they're tricky to grow out. You get a grafted frag, the part you don't want to grow. You get a Reef Raft can of rainbow splice and it ends up all green.
Yeah.
But this one keeps the colors very consistent throughout.
Throughout the coral.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorites over here.
Can we look at your sump real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you got more corals in here.
Yep. You gotta find a place to put more SPS.
All right. So this is where you do a lot of your fragging,
Yeah.
a lot of your mini colonies.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool one. Which one's this?
Eisenberg. That's the one in the display
That's the one
tank
that I
with
like a lot.
Super up high, very bright,
Gotcha.
likes a lot of par.
Is he getting a little less par in here, what you say?
Yeah, in here it's probably 500.
500?
It's still, right under an XR30 and 2
Yeah,
inches
right
below
under,
the
you ain't
surface
kidding.
water. So it's getting blasted.
And then you got a bunch of rock under the rack just to
Yeah.
hold all the corals?
Yeah, I mean, all my systems, I like to have a good bit of rock somewhere, somewhere for that bacteria to be held. And here I basically got a whole pile of it, and then I put rack on top, and I got frags growing on top of that. And now the rock is off the bottom of the tank, so I have 2 tunsies going under the rack, and the 2 other ones on this side. So these ones will run full blast. It'll create a gyre, so it'll push water under the rack, come up the other side and over the corals. So it's indirect flow,
Gotcha.
but they really like it because they got switching every
Yes.
few minutes, alternating. And then at one point they all run together and you get kind of a maximum flow condition.
Gotcha. And then for protein skimmer, I see you
Yep.
got 2 big old.
More reef octopus.
What size?
Yeah, Regal 300s.
Regal 300.
Like a 12-inch base. One thing I'll say though is I got neck skimmers, or the neck cleaners,
Yeah.
for all my skimmers. And I think I took them off recently.
was
The
too
problem is, well, they keep the neck clean, but all that fish poop gets stuck to the cleaner itself. And that water that goes up the neck of the skimmer, some of it comes back down.
Of course, yeah.
So you got a big collection of something you wouldn't want in your system normally growing on the neck. So now I took them off and I basically just try to clean them once a week.
Totally different. What do you have over there?
Oh, that's just a bucket. It's got the float switches for alarms.
Anything else that we need to know about the system?
No, I mean, it just, again, keep things pretty simple. Good flow, good lighting, automate your water changes, things like that. I think I'm a big proponent of, good sized skimmers. I got
Yep.
2 pretty big skimmers there. I think it's good for aeration. I pull air from the outside for the skimmers.
Yeah.
But I run it through a carbon block. Because
Okay.
we got farms around here, they'll spray pesticides. I don't know what's out there.
I don't blame you.
So basically, those carbon blocks that pot growers, use to cover up the smell.
Yeah.
I basically got plumbed outside, and then I'm pulling through that. So that's going to catch, some organic matter in the air, pesticides or whatnot.
All right. So, well, there's one more thing that people don't know. There's still a little display tank attached to
Yep.
this system that is upstairs.
Yep.
So let's go upstairs real quick.
All right.
So you're not running out of tanks anytime soon, huh? So how big is this tank?
So this is I think it's about a 90 gallon. It's a Red Sea 425 XL reefer. I would have gotten bigger, but kind of like what we got with the fireplace here in the spot, it's the right size.
And how long has this tank been running with
About
the system?
6 or 7 years. I got that system downstairs running first, and I plumbed this in a few years later. What I want to do up here is I want to go completely wireless, not see any wires. So I designed
a good
this.
job.
Thank you. So this lifts up. It's all acrylic. Built it myself.
That's the thinker right there, guys. The man doesn't stop thinking. He loses sleep over this.
I've got airflow going through channels to keep the lights cool. But up here we got G4 Radions Pros. I want to do a little bit whiter lighting up here, so you're not like got that Windex look in your living room when we're watching TV at 10 p.m. It's not bright blue.
Yeah.
And then I got some reef lights and T5s just for spreads, supplement a little bit, get a little more pop in there late at night.
Okay, and for flow on this tank, what do we have?
Just 2 MP40s.
2 MP40s. And all these torches here is something...
Yeah, they're all different, Holy Grail, variety, things like that. I got those ones over there. Got some different Indo Gold varieties over here. What I really like about this tank, though, it's the only place I do NPS. A lot of tanks, are mostly for growing coral. I'm selling coral, but this is more for fun. I don't sell the dendros. We got a
Gotcha.
rhizo in there. Those are hard to find. You don't see them much anymore.
Yeah.
But love the NPS corals.
Wow. And then for fish on this tank, what do you have?
Watanbe,
Yeah.
female. Funny thing is I moved her downstairs to be with the male, turned into a male. We were back here, she goes back to female.
Wow. Maybe you can try again.
Yeah, I mean all the way to the point with stripes, seeing the yellow stripe on the side, all the way. We got another purple tang.
Is he the boss?
Yep, he's the boss. You tell he's thick, he's well fed.
And then a coral beauty I see in
Yep.
there.
And then there's a lineatus wrasse. He's hiding out behind that big goniopora back there. He doesn't like intense lighting, it seems to me.
Yeah.
I know they're deeper water fish,
Yeah.
so I think that has to
So
be.
it's constantly hiding.
Yep.
And then you have some bubble tips over there growing on the side.
Yeah, that's just one that kind of broke loose.
One?
The problem is they get so big, they stretch to sting everything else, then they decide to let loose and float around, getting a power head.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you have trouble with them moving around, stinging?
Yeah,
everything?
I want to keep them there, but I have to.
So how does he go loose?
Yeah, bad decisions.
Bad decision. No, at least you're admitting it. See, he's not perfect, guys. Come on. Now, seriously, again, beautiful tanks.
Thank you.
So, obviously, we've been here all day. We still got one more to go. But that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Post some comments below. We'll see you guys on the next episode. And look who's here real quick. Hi, buddy. You want to be on the video? No? Come here. He doesn't want to be on video.
Who wants food, not
See you
video?
guys.